I'm a flight test engineer. I work on just testing airplanes, remotely piloted aircraft, retired Air Force pilot. I have a tattoo on my wrist that said, live to race. I grew up in a racing family. I've been racing most of my adult life. It's just something I do. It's a zen-like feeling. It's just wonderful to just, the power and the sound, the visceral experience, the shifting of the gears, the smell, the tires and everything. It's just such a wonderful thing to be in. It just feels like home. So prior to this, I ran a nitro funny car in the NHRA. I built an entire team, John Force style, up against some of the best in the world. And it became very expensive and very difficult to do, and I couldn't acquire the sponsorship needed to be able to compete at the John Force level. And I started looking into road course racing, and started talking to a friend, and he told me the most capable platform to start in was the C5 Z06 Corvette. So at that point, I went home, I told the wife, hey, I'm gonna pause everything with nitro funny car racing, and I went down to the dealership and bought a 2002 Z06 that had been sitting on the lot for a while. Obviously, it was a 12-year-old car, but I ran the entire Corvette Challenge, and I ran it in the stock class and just made minor modifications throughout the year, and won the Corvette Challenge championship in 2014. At the end of the year, I decided to go back to drag racing, and kind of brought my car back out of the mothballs and went back out on track. So the C5 Z06 that had been raced for an entire year at Redline, shifting, clutch was worn out, brakes were worn out. I took it down to a CarMax on a Wednesday night. Dirty, broken windshield, just beat up as it could be. And I didn't want to sell it to a friend. I didn't want to give it to anybody that I knew. So I went ahead and let CarMax make me an offer on it, and I let it go to them. And then about 2018, I wanted to get back into it and started looking around. I found this car. It's a 2007 Corvette Z06. It was out in Florida, and it had pretty much everything that I was looking for as a starter. And then from there, I've made a lot of changes, obviously. It was bought sight unseen. Basically went off of what they told me the car had on it, and I made the transaction, got a shipper, it showed up on a truck. And from there, it's just been fixing one thing after another, to be honest. But that's part of racing. It's a lightweight car. It has a lot of power. It's always had that just amazing style to it. The lines are really just beautiful. It's a rather old car. It's 13 years old now. Makes about 560 horsepower to the rear wheels, and it's been heavily modified for track application. The only thing I haven't touched thus far is the motor and the front brakes, or all the brake system, which is going to be going on here next week. It's got all different coilovers. I've done a lot of work on the front aero, and I've just basically modified the entire car to suit my needs and make it perform as well as I can. I have a checklist I go through. I start setting up the tires, check if I didn't do it at home, I'll check the lug nuts, make sure that they are torqued. I get all my timing equipment set up, cameras set up, I clean the windows, check the oil, warm it up, and just generally make sure it's ready. You kind of just mimic a lot of what you see, and so watching a lot of the professional race cars and road course out there, I love to fabricate, I love to build, I love to get out in the garage and just work on making my own stuff. I basically started with copying a lot of what I've seen done on other cars, and then just made it fit my car. And I'm a decent fabricator, so it's evolved throughout time. And for me, that's part of the fun of all this, is just making your stuff better, redoing it when you need to, and just having fun with what works and what doesn't. And I still have a long ways to go as a driver, so I'm going to be sticking with this platform for quite some time. Actually, I have another identical twin car to this one right now. It's a 2007 C6, just a plain Jane. I've been calling this one Megadeth Molly, and the other one I call her Plain Jane, but it's a paddle shift LS2 car. The Corvette is a very capable platform, and I highly recommend it as a start. And you don't need to do any modifications at all to even come out on a track day and just have some fun. And from there, you can easily modify it. There's a host of things that you can do one at a time to make your car more capable and get faster every time you come out. But the number one thing is you just got to learn how to drive it. The C6 for me, it's a great solid platform, and I'm happy with this car. It's part of our family now. There's just no other thing that you can do that gives you adrenaline, and it's so much fun. The camaraderie, the people, it's just amazing out here. And to be able to race this kind of car is really a lot of fun. My son does it, and my family loves it. He's kind of been around it since he was just a toddler. He's 6, 7 years old. And he comes out in the garage, he helps me out, and every year he starts doing more and more things. You know, before we came out here, he was putting the wheels on and checking the tire pressure and getting everything set up for the race. It's not about the trophies, it's about the family and the memories with my son, I think.